What is going on, guys? Emmanuel Jones back here with another video, NFL record prediction, and this time I'll be doing the New England Patriots 2021 record prediction. To give you my thoughts, to give you my my opinion on the Patriots, which I'll tell you what's a good matchup for the Patriots and what's a bad matchup for the Patriots. So make sure before I do give you the theory, make sure you like the video and also subscribe to my channel for more options. And also don't forget to just comment down your opinion below on what you think your prediction is. Do you think the Patriots are going to be really good? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs this year? Do you think they're going to win the division? Or you think they're going to take a step back again this year? So let me know in the comment section below. Alright, now the Patriots kick it off with the Dolphins week 1. I actually have the Patriots winning, and the reason why is that I just really think the Patriots, they have the better quarterback and have the better coach, and they're a more complete team and are at home, and that's the reason why the Patriots win week 1. And also, I think the defense is going to give Tua some fits. I mean, Bill Belichick is going to be prepared for that game. So, yeah, that's why the Patriots win. And I also had them losing to the Dolphins because in week 18, because to be honest with me, the Dolphins, to be honest with me, they always beat the Patriots at home for some reason. And the reason why is that, weird things always happen in Miami. So, yeah, that's why I think the Dolphins win that game. Now, week 2, they got to play versus the Jets. Actually, I think you guys are going to, split with the Jets. So I'm going to say that the Jets win the first game, and then I'm going to say the Patriots win the second game versus the Jets like they always do. And the reason why is that, I just kind of feel like that the Jets, I feel like their defense is going to be much better because of the additions they made. So, yeah. So, I just really think that, the Jets defense is going to give Cam some issues. So, yeah. And also, the reason why I had the Patriots winning versus Jets, because, I don't really trust a rookie quarterback on the road, especially against a really good defense like the Patriots. So, yeah, that's going to be very tough. So, that's why the Patriots win that game. So, yeah. So, next game, they have to play versus Saints. Obviously, I feel like this game right here is going to be very interesting. Now, the Saints, are kind of like an average team a little bit because, I kind of find they're a really great matchup for the Patriots because they have a really good defensive line and a really good offensive line. So, yeah. But we can really see the Saints pulling this one off, but I feel like it's going to be very close. But you know what? I'm really not a big believer in James. They really lost Drew Brees. Brees as their franchise quarterback, but I'm really not a believer in Jameis. And I just think the Patriots are going to win this game. And the reason why is that I just really think that the Patriots defense is going to give Jameis Winston some fits and all that. So, yeah. So, I think Cam Newton's going to have a big day. And also the Saints, they don't really have a lot of depth on defense. And they don't really have much of some offensive weapons. I mean, they only just got Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. I mean, yeah. So, I just kind of feel like that the Patriots are going to have a good day. So, I think that's when Cam Newton's going to have a big game. I mean, I'm more a fan of Cam Newton than Jameis Winston. And I just really think that Cam Newton is just better than Jameis Winston in my opinion. So, next game, they have to play versus the Bucks. Obviously, this game is going to be very exciting. Tom Brady playing against his former team. But you know what? This game can go either way, though, because both these two teams have one of the best defenses in the NFL. But you know what? We can see the Patriots winning this game because they're at home, and they also have the defense, and the weapons to move the ball against Tampa Bay and to slow down the Bucks offense. But you know what? I feel like this game is going to be very close. But you know what? With a rookie playing against an elite defense like the Bucks, is gonna be too much. But you know what? I'm gonna go with the Bucks here. Even though it's in New England, I'm picking the Bucks because they're just the better team overall, and they have the better quarterback. So yeah, so I think the Bucks are gonna win a close one. Now next game, they have to play versus the Texans. Obviously, I got them beating the Texans, and the reason why is that they're gonna get the revenge on the Texans because the Texans beat you guys twice like in 2 years. I mean, they're not gonna win 3 times in a row. Just to be honest. Now, the reason why I have to be in Texans is that, I don't really think Deshaun Watson's going to be there, which that's really, you know, they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league without their superstar quarterback. So, yeah. So, and also the Texans, they don't really have a defense. And also, I think that the Patriots' offense is going to be really too much for that Texans defense to handle. So I feel like those receivers, the weapons, are going to have a really big day, and their run game will too. And I feel like that the defense is going to really, really shut down the Texans' offense, whoever playing quarterback. So yeah, the Patriots they got the better quarterback, they have the better coach, and they're just the better team overall. So I think the Patriots do win this game. Now, next game versus the Cowboys. Now, this game is very interesting, though. Now, we could see the Cowboys pulling this off because I think the Cowboys have a defense, but I don't really know about, their offense is really good, though, because they have a really great offensive line, but the secondary is concerning. Now, I think that the Patriots defense is really good, and they're really good at stopping the run now. But you know what? And I think that the defense, I think they can find a way to like slow down the Cowboys offense and slow down Zeke and all that. So I'm think the Patriots win this game, and the reason why is that I just think the Patriots are just the better team, and I just feel like the Patriots are just gonna like outduel the Cowboys. So yeah, that's why I think the Patriots win this game, but I think it's gonna be close though. So I think they'll win like maybe like a field goal. But I hope it's a high scoring game. Now next game they have to play versus the Chargers. Obviously, I think the Chargers are really gonna be a good team this year. I feel like they will be a playoff team this year, and the reason why is that because of the rise of Herbert, because he's that good. But you know what? This is the game where the Patriots really blow the doors out of the Chargers because Justin Herbert, he kind of wasn't playing well because that's when Cam Newton really played well against that Charger defense. But here's the thing. The Chargers defense is not great at stopping the run, but they're really great on offense, passing the ball physically, and Justin Herbert is really great at doing that. But you know what? I'm gonna pick the Chargers here because I feel like Justin Herbert's gonna have a big game and all that. So yeah. So that's why I think the Chargers will win. Next game, they have to play versus the Panthers. Obviously, I think this game can go either way now. This is Cam Newton playing versus his former team. Now, the Panthers is lacking lots of talent on defense and talent on offense because they have a great receiving core, a great D-line. I mean, yeah. But you know what? I feel like this game is going to be either way, but I feel like this game is going to be super close. I mean, now, the the Patriots can barely pull off, and the Panthers can barely win this game, but you know what? I'm gonna go with the Patriots here because I just feel like their defense is really gonna give Sam Darnold some fits because the Panthers they do not have a great offensive line, so I think the Patriots defensive line takes advantage of that, and also I think Cam, in my opinion, is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, in my opinion, and also they have the better coach and there's a more complete team, so that's why the Patriots win. Now, next game, they have to play versus the Browns. Now, this is a very interesting game, though. Now, we can see this game going either way, though, because I feel like that, the Patriots, they have the defense, they have the corners to, like, cover the Browns receivers, they have the defense to slow down the Browns run game and all that. But you know what? I kind of feel like that the Browns are going to be really good and be one of the best teams in the AFC because of the additions they made on defense. So yeah, and I feel like that their defense is going to be a lot better than it was last year because I think their defense was really good, but I don't really remember with them being average like that. But I feel like this game can go either way though. But I can see the Patriots pulling this off. But I feel like this game is going to be a shootout and a high scoring game, and I feel like this game is going to be super close. The Patriots can barely pull off an upset. But I know it's in New England, but I'm going to go with the Browns here because I just think the Browns are just a better team. So, yeah. And I just kind of feel like Baker is just a better quarterback than Cam, in my opinion. So, yeah, and I really feel like that Browns defense is really going to give Cam some fits. And we don't really know if Mac Jones is going to be playing this game. Now, like I said, a rookie versus an elite defense is going to be too much. So, yeah, that's why I think the Browns are going to win this game. Now, next game, they have to play the Falcons on Thursday night. Now, I have the Patriots winning, and the reason why is that, I know it's in Atlanta, and I always pick the home team on Thursday night because it's wacky, but I just picked the Patriots to win because the Falcons, they do not have a great defense. They lost Julio. Their offense is going to look terrible. So I feel like the Falcons, they could be one of the bottom teams in the league, though. So, yeah. So I feel like that the Falcons, I feel like that, their offensive line is not great. And I feel like that the Patriots' defensive line can take advantage of that. So they can find a way to slow down the Falcons' offense and get Matt Ryan some fits. Now, the Falcons secondary is very weak, and the Patriots, they have the weapons, to expose that. So I feel like that the weapons are going to have a big game. Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar, and Jacoby Myers, and Kendrick Bourne, and plenty of more receivers. And John Smith. I mean, that run game. That Patriots offense is gonna have a really big day, and that's gonna be too much. So yeah, but I feel like the game could be a little closer, but I don't know if it can because the Falcons don't have a great defense. But I wouldn't be shocked if they kept it close because Matt Ryan is still a really good quarterback. So yeah, that's why I think the Patriots will win. Now next game they have to play versus the Titans. Now the Titans, now this game right here can barely go either way because the Titans have a really good run game. They have a But I don't really know about their defense, but it's a little concerning, but we'll see. Because they got a great corner position and all that, so yeah. But you know what? I want to pick the Titans here because they're the better team, but I'm going to go with the Patriots because I just think the Patriots defense is good enough to slow down, Derrick Henry in that rushing attack. And they have the corners with J.C. Jackson, Jalen Mills, and Devin McCourty, and Stephon Gilmore. They have the corners, they have the corners to cover the Titans receivers, like to cover Julio Jones and cover A.J. Brown. So they have the corners to do that. But I feel like this game is going to be super close. And I think it's going to be an offensive game. It could be a high scoring, but I think the Patriots are going to pull it off. Now, next game, week 13, you got to play the Bills on Monday Night Football. I actually have the Bills winning the first matchup because I just feel like the Bills, they're just a better team overall. And I just think Josh Allen's a better quarterback than Cam. So, yeah, that's why I think the Bills win the first game. Now, I have them winning the second game versus the Bills. And the reason why is that I just think the Patriots are just a better team. I just really feel like the Patriots defense is gonna have a good game, and I think Cam is gonna out-duel Josh Allen this year. So yeah, that's why I think the Patriots find a way to win. Now they have the bye week 14, but they have to play versus the Colts. Now this is gonna be very interesting Now, this game right here can barely go either way, though. Because I heard a lot of people saying that the Patriots are going to win because they just have the better team. But you know what? Now, the Colts have a really good offensive line and a great defensive line. I mean, they have the offense, they have the defense to slow down Cam and the Patriots offense. Hey, but you know what? I'm probably gonna say the Colts are gonna upset you guys because I just feel that the Colts have a really great defensive line and they can really give that Patriots offense some fits and Cam some fits as well. So I think Carson Wentz is gonna out duel Cam in this game. So yeah. So that's why I think the Colts are gonna win. All right, next game they have to play versus the Jaguars. Now this is gonna be a very interesting game though, because the Jaguars, they have some young talent they can build upon though, and I like their aspects of their team though. But you know what? I kind of feel like that this game is gonna be super close. Now Jacksonville could barely pull off an upset, but you know what? Like I said, I kind of feel like the Jaguars are going to be dealing with some learning curves because they have a new coach, a new quarterback, they have a new culture. They have a young defense though, but their defense is not as good as yours. But I feel like this game could be a shootout. But I'm going to go with the Patriots here because the Patriots, I just feel like they're just the better team. They have the better coach, they have the better quarterback, and they're also at home. But But a rookie on the road versus a really good defense at the Patrons, that's really not great. But you know what? That's why I'm thinking the Patrons are going to win. So, yeah. So, I think they're all. So, I kind of feel like the Patrons their weapons for the Patrons are going to be too much for the Jags defense to handle. So, they're going to have a big day, and their run game will be too much for that Jags defense to handle. Which I don't think the Jags have a really great defense. Their defense is very young, but it's going to take some time to build upon it and to build a culture. But their offensive line, is not great. But I feel like the Patriots defense can take advantage of that and they can really give Trevor Lawrence some fits and all that. So yeah, that's why the Patriots winning. So at this point I have the Patriots at 10-7. I mean, I can see them being as good as maybe 12-5 or 13-4. But you know what? I just think the Patriots, you know, I kind of thought they're going to be a really good team this year. Now, I wouldn't expect them to do any better than 12-5, but I just had them at 10-6 for at just this moment right now. But I just think the Patrons are going to land somewhere from 10 to 12 wins this year. But I'm going to stick with 10 because I don't really know how well I don't even know if Cam Newton, is going to be the guy to take the next step forward. I mean, we're just gonna see. Now we can see the Patrons be a playoff team and win division. It depends on how they do. But I just feel like they will take a step forward this year because I think their defense is gonna be very good, like it will good this year, and I feel like it will be better than last year because last year, their defense sucked. But you know what? I just kind of felt that that their run game's gonna get better, their O line's gonna get better. Yeah, and I kind of feel like Cam Newton is gonna get a lot better this season, like he was last season. So yeah, I just feel like the Patrons are gonna be decent this year because you got Tom Brady. The Patrons kind of have an easy schedule because they play the Dolphins twice, they can play the Jets twice. They play the Falcons, the Texans, the Cowboys. They play the Chargers and they play the Panthers and the Colts and the Jaguars. Those are all non-playoff teams now. They play the Bucks and the Bills, which are two, and the Browns, which are like a first place schedule. So those are some tough games and might be difficult to overcome. So yeah. So that's how I see it as the Patrons. That's how I see it is right now. So I feel like 10-7 is going to get them into the playoffs. So yeah. So I mean, 3-3 in their division, 6-6 in their conference, 7-2 at home, 3-5 away. I mean, that's pretty good. So yeah. So I think the Patrons, have a lot of upside, and I feel like that the Patrons, are going to be back in the playoffs this year in 2021. So I feel Bill. So I feel like Bill Belichick will bounce back this year. So yeah. All right, guys. That's my prediction for the Patriots for 2021's NFL season. And also, if you disagree with me, just let me know in the comment below about what you think your predictions for the Patriots is. Like, you think I'm wrong or you think I'm right? Just let me know in the comment section below what you think. Well, it was Emmanuel Jones from The Big Fan. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys later. Peace.